Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. I've just had a peep into April's astrology, and this might be a 28-part series. It's big. There's a lot going on, guys. And I don't know where to start. Bear with me. I'm going to start with Mercury. And I'm going to start with the coolest, nerdiest gift I've ever bought myself. Check these out. Okay. Every element that we know that's published is photographed on a card, because this, thank you, coming in now, right, this thing I haven't stopped doing. I keep going to this Solve et Coagula, and I think what's been speaking to me is Mercury, and that is speaking to me in a way that something in me just wants to strip everything back, strip all the archetypes back. Because archetypes can be linear and can lead us down tram lines, which might be out of alignment with what our gut is telling us about our personal relationship with Mercury. And so my guidance to you is to really lean in to your sensory perception, your higher sensory perception. Okay. And we're going to begin with Mercury, Hg80 element. And I don't know if you remember, about 100 videos ago, the words ancient elements came in, and it came in again this morning. And this pull in me to get as stripped back as possible. Like, we're in this. April is going to be such a birthing point, a birthing pool. Okay. And one of the things I found when I was researching where Mercury, the planet, came from was how it collided with Mercury, the element. And it collides with Mercury, the element, and the Ouroboros. And it's often associated with dragon, serpent, and Ouroboros energy. That making and unmaking and remaking. It's feeling our way, really. And the feeling our way, rather than thinking down a tram line that matches a certain kind of history, is where we learn to swim against the tide. That's the opportunity, really, that's coming in. And so I am gonna read just a few notes, and I'm going to touch on some of the masses of astrological points. And what I'm also going to do with this energy is I'm going to bring in sidereal astrology, which is true sky position, and mix it with Western, simply because I don't believe in one or the other. That's duality. And in the polarity, if we're training ourselves to move to energetic resonance rather than what we learned from a book or an astrologer, and I am not an astrologer, that's what's going to take the doors off learned behavior rather than intuitive behavior. So Mercury retrograde starts today, and it's happening in Aries. Now, it's happening in Aries in both Western and sidereal. Difference is it'll stay in Aries in Western, and in sidereal it will retrograde into Pisces. Mercury in Pisces might be a bit challenging. Okay. In the same month, let's say, in the same month, we have Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces, Western, Aquarius, Eastern. So follow the energy. Mars conjunct Saturn is bold. It makes me want to open my eyes wide. It maybe makes me want to go into challenge, to have the strength and courage of my own conviction, and to use it with wisdom, to use that wisely rather than the sometimes person-centered archetype of Aries. Okay, so that first house wants to lead, but we're leading with wisdom. Okay, so Mars conjunct Saturn in Pisces Aqua. And then one of the asteroids that caught my eye was Eris, the goddess of strife and discord, at a particular degree, which is 24. And Eris is a long way out past Neptune. 24 is like space and time. In the house of self. So Eris is going to be in Aries during all of this. And as soon as I tapped into that energy, this is what came out. Who are you? What is out of alignment? What is it like to swim against the tide to get home to yourself? How far out can you go? Okay. And then on the 8th, we have the solar eclipse in Aries, Western, Pisces, Eastern, sidereal. Either way, it's hitting the North Node in both disciplines. So that's what we're leaning into. The North Node is affectionately called the destiny point, but it's what we're leaning into. South Node can also be what we're leaning into to avoid the forward lean. So total solar eclipse on the 8th of April. That's an 848 code, 20. Okay. And then also in April, we have the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction in Taurus, Western, Aries, Eastern. Now, in Aries, it gets infinitely more interesting. Now, I'm not going to drill down into these specifically, but I just want to gather themes and energies, and I'm going to keep following this through April because it's a massive month. So irrespective of Western or sidereal astrology, these changes are happening in the houses of Aqua, Pisces, and Aries, the 11th, 12th. Oh, sorry, Aqua, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus, 11th, 12th, 1st, and 2nd house. As an amalgam, this is the ending and the beginning we speak of in the many alpha omega conversations we keep having. Okay. So Mercury retrograde pre-shadow started March the 19th. The retrograde begins today, continues to April the 25th, and then the post-shadow ends May the 13th. 23, 26, 36, 46, 53 days. And some information about Mercury. Cinnabar, aka vermilion mercury sulfide, HGS, was used as a bright red pigment in the Paleolithic painters of 30,000 years ago to decorate caves in Spain and France. Cinnabar would yield up its mercury simply by heating it in a crucible. This metal fascinated people because not only was it a liquid, but it could also dissolve gold. I didn't know any of this about mercury. The ancients used mercury on a large scale to extract alluvial gold from the sediments of rivers The mercury dissolves the gold, which can be reclaimed by then distilling off the mercury. Spring forward to the 19th century and consider how much mercury was used to drive the Californian gold rush. And so Mercury for me becomes this flowing fusing point, to allow maybe a different kind of alchemy. And we're building together here. So your comments in any direction are very, very welcome. Because when we build the new, we can't get linear in the right and wrong duality. We've got to be curious children. So what is Mercury to you? And on that 80 code, reduces to 8, so that's an 808 code. It wants to build straight from the void. It wants to build. And there are also conjunction points to the galactic center and supergalactic center, just to add spice to the whole thing. Okay, so keep that there. We'll keep that there. And what I'm not going to do with these beautiful cards is talk into them. I just want them to kind of create a container and see what comes through. And so I'm going to go that one, and that one, trusting, and that one. Okay. So we have cobalt. Are we not fighting a war in the name of cobalt? $27.9. Cobalt is used in pigments. Mercury is used in pigments, notably cobalt blue, one of my favorite colors, and in high strength, high temperature steel alloys. So I believe they use cobalt for hip replacements, or they used to use cobalt for hip replacements, but I don't know if it's toxic. High purity cobalt is obtained by electrolyzing cobalt ions out of solution, resulting in bumpy plate like this. It reminds me of hematite. Okay, so we're just going to put that there. And then we have cerium, 58, 13.4. Cerium is one of the least expensive rare earths and is the major component of misch metal, MISCH, used in lighter flints because it catches fire easily when struck. Mars square Saturn, Mars conjunct Saturn. It catches fire easily when struck. Larger blocks are used for sparking special effects. So these cards have tons of information on the back. Ooh. Okay, I don't know how to say it. 118. Ooh. Okay, so this is Unun Noc, Ununoctium, Ununoctium, 118. Discovered in Russia and the United States, 2006, Ununoctium is a placeholder assigned until the element has been given a final name. Ooh. Its discovery has been reliably claimed, but remains to be independently verified before a name is officially assigned. So it kind of knows what it is. It's waiting for verification. And therein might lie the challenge. If verification becomes a permission slip to exist in the world, then therein might lie the challenge. There's a placeholder for you. Okay, beautiful. And then I wanted just some simple messages. And so I've gone to Sacred Destiny Oracle, Denise Lee. And these messages came out. I didn't shuffle the deck. I just cut them and looked. And then that underlying story came out. Another gateway. And this feels like an aimless wandering, a purposeless nothing. What are you doing that for? Nothing. The kind of pleasure that challenges linear thinking. In yourself and others. With, let's not make this a dualistic thing of them and us. It's yeah. Ride the merry-go-round or cut yourself loose is what I get with this. These beautiful pinks again. And Mercury was used for cave drawings. So obviously this speaks to foundation, earth, rock, and what foundation do you stand on? Foundation as the resilient, consistent within you. But what it's also hinting at is a really big reset. A really big reset. I had this the other day. And purification. The purification of truth, purification of an aligned behavior. That's gorgeous. Yeah. Imagine living in a world, but let's just give our energy to this. If it moves you, imagine living in a world where more people in power decide it is no longer cool to abuse power and start saying, I can no longer do that. It's harming my soul. Yeah, I can see that. That's feasible. Okay. And I'm going to go to Black Moon astrology. called Black Moon astrology. It is. And let's have just the top line messages, please, for April. I'm not going to drill down too much. Thank you. Yeah, I'm staring at the change card and the security card, and I'm being invited to go to the polar opposite of change. Same, security, insecurity. Because as we move towards a greater expression of our truth, it will help us to keep an eye when the polar opposite comes in as a checking mechanism. Because when we pull away, very often when we pull away from, let's say there's a group of people that you're involved with, or a relationship you're involved with, and when you start pulling away, what happens is the field will come towards you more often than not. So the tons of people I've spoken to who go off social media for a couple of weeks and people come in, because what that exposes is where the energetic entanglement is, and suddenly this isn't getting fed. There's nothing malevolent here, can all be done unconsciously, but the noticing of the lack of being fed comes in. Excuse me. And so notice when that comes in and hold your ground. Hold your ground, because we're building a new sense of stability and security by sometimes going in completely the opposite direction. Yeah. Solar eclipse. Coming in that one, first house, Aries. And bringing in the ancient stonework. So this is speaking to ancient ancestors. I've got remembering who we are now. Okay. All right. Thank you. Good reminder. And a reminder to look to self. Do you remember on the last video, I said these cards are behaving? It's because my field had changed. It was me. Okay, so go to self first. Ownership and accountability. Hmm. Yeah, this is speaking straight to the retrograde. Because coming in on that 15, that middle degree is, do I go forwards or do I go backwards? This is the alchemical marriage. 15 is alchemy. It's that again. So Sun, Jupiter, the players that are coming in here, Sun and Jupiter. I've got cycles coming in with these cards. The cards started to spin clockwise and they were shuffling in half a circle. And I've got cycles. Cycles. Change or stay the same. There is always a choice. There's no right, wrong, good, bad. It's just a choice. Yeah. So we have the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction happening in April. And if we distill this into an abundance of genius, that demands change. It demands it. The only card missing from the middle here is the Tower. Is the Tower card. Yeah. Could that be the Tower card? What are you willing to sacrifice to join this part? It's already happening. It's already happening. The revelations I've had about because I've been deeply studying the narcissist complex and all the expressions of narcissism and how it originates and how it hides in plain sight. It's fascinating. And the revelations have blown my mind. Hidden in plain sight has blown my mind. So Neptune, sacrifice. Of course, Neptune is hidden in plain sight. I want another card on that, please. Speak to me. This one. What's Neptune telling us? Volition. The will to act voluntarily without being led or coerced. Oh, yes, that's really going to kick against the covert narcissism that exists in the world. It's so many, 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 many places. Leo, I will. Coming in on that 17-8. We had this the other day, didn't we? 888 gateway. Yeah, it is. If I were to be blunt, and you know that I am, this could be self-sacrifice. Because part of my study into covert narcissism revealed a mythological creature called Echo. And Echo was the partner of Narcissus. And Echo didn't ask for what she wanted and put his needs above hers, which is perfect for both of them. She doesn't want to be in the spotlight. She doesn't want to be important. She wants to serve, but the serving isn't coming from nobility. It's coming from a desire to hide. It's coming from low self-worth, so the inability to speak up and get her emotional needs met. And it's perfect for him because he can slather her in flattery and compliments about how giving and wonderful she is and totally get his needs met. So it's coercion hidden in plain sight. It's complete lack of honesty. And it can dress itself up as caring and loving and all of that stuff. It's very subtle. And again, it distills back to, am I in alignment? Is my heart open? Can I feel the love in this, or am I talking a good fight? Leo, lion heart, big, big heart. Okay, that's beautiful. Where do we go? Let's see if there are any questions. I'm just going to go to my question deck. Any questions that want to speak to this? What can I take personal responsibility for in this? Coming in on that 26-8, karma. What happens when I say that back to myself? This is a great one. I worked with a client 100 years ago, and the client was complaining about one of their children. Vehemently, mean, spiteful complaining. And I paused them and said, I really want to hear that story. I'd like you to tell me it in the first person. And so the story changed to, I'm shit, I can't get anything right. And on it went. And the client's whole somatic response told the real story. In came shame, in came a bit of a chuckle, shoulders going, turned to deep sobbing. Huge emotional release. Saw his projection of what had been put on the children, took responsibility, changed the relationship. Beautiful work, powerful work, beautiful work. You know, and this is the work of Carl Jung, is to withdraw the projection of our shadow onto others, from others. How do I know I'm doing it, Chrissy? Well, if you name, blame, and shame, you're projecting. If, you know, that's the really simple. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. This has just shown me two people coming together, and one is like, oh, wow, this thing's happened. I'm going to change this. I'm going full Uranus genius shit. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay. That in itself could be a projection of the inner fear of not meeting that genius. So very often, if we see genius in other, it can trigger shadow. If it doesn't trigger, hey, pom-poms out, have a look at that. What happens when I say that back to myself? Take their words, say it back to yourself. Yay, I'm going forward, something, and then notice what's happening. April's going to be full of change. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I've got another message coming in from the narcissist complex. Where did I get that from? Okay. So I think this was after so I was writing for 3 days, just to kind of really, really see into this system. And it ended with a sentence, which is something like, the way forward is to experience and share love, free from power, money, and fame. That was the statement. And that speaks straight to how would you describe your personal power? Can you describe your personal power? Can you describe your personal power? Solar plexus, all, but solar plexus. Okay, where to now? I'm going to go to the ethereal tarot. Oh, they feel nice. So they want to tell us about the shadow. Okay, let's look at the shadow. Cute. Oh, regret, loss, sadness, what didn't work out, where love evaded you. Now, this is like the question with this is, yes, but where have you been putting your love? Look at your whole life. Where have you might have been doing it mindlessly. Where have you been putting your love? And not noticing, right under your nose, and not noticing. Where have you been putting your love? Cups also speaks to emotional relationships. 5 wants change. Yeah. And again, it comes back to what are your emotional needs and how are they being met by you primarily? Do it for self first and then let physics do the rest. Oh, wow. This is whispering to this. Oh, God, this is such a weak fist. It's so weak. Where is my place in the world? It's so weak. Where is the power? Where did the power go? What am I waiting for? So this is the elemental marker that's awaiting verification. Oh, that's powerful. Are there aspects of self that are awaiting the validation of others before they can come forth and burst and be seen and heard and viewed? Or are they considered harmful and toxic? Can express anything when it's owned. If it comes out as name, blame, shame, and it's going to cause a ruckus. But when it's owned, it's like the other day I was talking to somebody who stifled a growl. So we were going down and down and down, just tapping in gently to the rage. And then the intellect came in to put buttercream on it and tidy it up and make it not toxic. And I guided the client, lean in as if you were an actor on stage right now. And I've given you a script and I need rage from you. Wow. It was fantastic. Such a release. It's like letting ourselves out of a cage with where the door is open and has been open for millennia. It's the devil card. Okay. Oh, good Lord. All right. Okay. Now, I could be really lazy here and go straight to toxic masculinity. Or I could go to masculine youth, is what I'm seeing. Masculine youth. But, and this is in us all, this is not, I'm not speaking to young men. I'm speaking to masculine youth in the human. Narcissism again. That's what steals that fire. I think I said the other day that I can see the narcissist complex is being pulled, removed, dissolved from the psyche. And that's going to open up space. And it's space to own your fire. And the simple act of owning your fire might in itself feel defiant. Oh, look what I did. Okay. What's coming in on top of this reversed King of Wands? And I've put death face down. I'm going to leave those there. Let's play. Oh, oh, that's gorgeous. Innocence, innocence returning. Just how would you express love as a young thing? The words are, how are you messaging yourself? Like SMS messaging. Do you still use the phrase SMS? Sorry, I'm old. How do you message yourself emotionally? So this is speaking to internal messages, and it's going to challenge that raw expression of fire. I want more, 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 more. So we'll welcome in the Page of Cups. So we go from that to that to that to that. Yeah, so return to innocence. It's that kind of innocent, yeah, thank you. But look at the back of this card. And if we're talking about the innocence and purity of youth, we're talking about little ones who beam like lighthouses. And then we also have to speak to the energies that feed on that light, energies that have never been in full ownership of their own volition. Again, I'm not leaning into good and bad. These are just energies that offer choice to work the ingredients in a different way. Strangely, that's coming in with transformation and community. Yeah. Speak to innocence and purity. Two of Cups. How are you bonded to yourself? How are you bonded to your love for yourself? How are you bonded to your soul? How are you bonded to your beliefs and values and instinct? Nature, nurture. Four of Wands is about building a foundation, balanced. From the fires of hell. And that's coming in with temperance. And, you know, when we talk about these two together, and Mars and Saturn are in the container, then go to the higher voice is what I'm hearing. Go to the higher voice. Yeah, I said I would drop higher and lower, didn't I? Go to the knowing. And that might be the difference between a response or a reaction. Go to the knowing and act on the truth of that rather than doing what you think you should. That's part of the narcissist complex. Adapting to what feeds, to be liked or stroked or validated, whatever. Okay, yeah, that's it for that deck. Thank you. And here on the 1st of April, this might be a good start question. Because Two of Cups talks about commitment, literally how we hold hands with ourselves, how we clink cups with ourselves, how we are in alignment with ourselves, how we get our emotional needs met. And part of that commitment is going to involve making waves. Yeah, we have confused belongingness with sameness. They are nothing to do with one another. Belonging, the feeling of belongingness is held in the soul. The soul knows it. And there's one of the changes. Do I feel like I belong in this, or am I adapting and filtering and distorting and sanitizing? Am I going quiet and meeting other people's needs so I don't have to meet my own? Echo. I love this reading. I'm going to go to Sacred Rebels. Yeah, Sacred Rebellion. Okay. Let's close this out, or begin to close this out, please. Yeah. 8. Be the hunter, not the hunted. Mm. And I'm just remembering the last video, Tir na Nog, Journey with Tir na Nog. And it's like, as I stare at this card, I go through the geometry and the physics that's made this world and go through. Okay, that is taking me to let's just say it feels like there's a message that wants to come through here. Be the hunter, not the hunted. What's the message here? Beautiful. That's beautiful. Give me a minute. So we have the future and the past of Pleiadian energy here. And the future is speaking about equal value. I don't know where that's just taken me, guys. Equal value philosophy. And the past speaks to blind enthusiasm. There's that Neptunian energy. There's the lack of volition, the lack of will. What's my motivation in this? How do I feel in this? Do I belong here? Am I giving more than I receive? There's another uncomfortable question. Don't be selfish. No, be selfish. Get this right. Primary relationship. Change the world. It's not about saving the world, or it's not even about healing other people. Primarily, it's about getting all of this into alignment, connecting it to your galactic selves, bring the whole lot to this timeline. So you can move in 360 degrees of your universe. Get that right and the world changes. Physics does the rest. I was in a meeting with one of my guides about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and they're inviting me to talk about my YouTube channel. And the algorithm thing. So I don't dance with algorithms. I love YouTube. It's like a meeting space, a therapeutic tool for me to get out of me what comes in sometimes so fast that it can literally create blockages in my spine. The first video I ever made cleared all the pain in my spine. It was only like 10 minutes long. And I thought, this is interesting. And so for me, it's about, if it's coming in, I go to camera and that's it. And the next question I was asked was, well, what about growing your audience and marketing and publicity? And I said, my job is to share what comes through, to get it out of me, and then I let my Higgs boson do the rest. So my Higgs boson does the physics, and Zeta Ophiuchi brings people in. And what I'm building is sustainable, something sustainable. I don't think I even have a desire to be like a 100K channel. I quite like being in the shadows. I quite like being small, but she's going to go the way she goes. Zeta Ophiuchi, she has a very strong will. So yeah, and that's like that is like, see, that's the positively charged blind enthusiasm, because I don't know where it's going to go. It is blind enthusiasm. But in its negative charge, it is asking those questions about, do you still belong there? Do you still belong in those relationships? And then Lyra, I seem to think all of this astrology is conjuncting with M57, Messier 57, Lyran constellation. Complete surrender to what? It's okay to ask those questions. To what? And I guess the challenge in there, see, it's coming in on that 70, it's that fusion of energy from the void. It's, gosh. Okay, yeah, thank you. To who you truly are, and you may not know that yet. To who you truly are. And sometimes the complete surrender can speak to surrendering to our ugly, you know? If we take something really simple in the 3D, I get angry a lot. I don't, but let's use that narrative. So complete surrender prevents any application of buttercream so that the intellect can keep the personality intact, keep the facade up. This is about bringing the tower down. And so making it okay to stand in a collective and say, no, I can be an angry bugger. And in ownership, there's no projection. There's no projection. And that's okay. That's one of your degrees. Anger, rage, disappointment, they're all things to be experienced. You know, leave the love and light. That will happen as a result of clearing all the rubble so that you could just pull the darkness up. Darkness, chaos, void, feminine. That's the kind of darkness I'm talking about. Yes, absolutely. She feels, she knows. Darkness, feminine, in us all. It's like, that's what that feels like, pulling the void straight through you. Right, okay. Not really feeling the horsey ones. But I am feeling, oh, I'm also feeling, yeah, let's go shadow. Let's pull some shadow up. Lantern Oracle. Put the meat on the bones. Radical self-love. We can only receive love to the extent that we unconditionally love and live the truth of ourselves. I'm excited. These are game-changing energies. It's almost like we're giving you a fusion point to work with. I can't stop doing that. It's giving me something. We're giving you a fusion point to work with. Where was I going? Yeah. And mystical healing cards. Hmm. I don't want to speak to this card superficially. That's why I'm in a very long pause. Superficially. It feels, it feels, hmm. Okay, I'll just tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Leonardo da Vinci sitting on a riverbank, watching the water. Because so many of his designs were created by staring into nature, almost becoming it, allowing it to transform his thoughts and ideas. And as I'm speaking into this, the left half of my body is like this. It's activating. Let's get a clarifier for that. I don't want to insult you with something superficial. Let's go Toth deck. Clarify 21. Yeah, that 21 is speaking to something so sensitive. And what it's bringing is a presencing, like a level of presence with the body that's so subtle that less gets ignored. Keep going. Okay, I'm just going to say this is how it's coming in. This is about meeting the emotional needs of your body. Okay, thank you for staying with it, if you stayed with it. Goodness me. Wow, okay. There's something big, big. Okay, so we have, this is the underlying story, and I don't know how it plays in yet. We have the Five of Swords talking about defeat. It's a nice little upturned pentagram. Actually, I learned a long time ago that the upturned pentagram isn't so much evil. It's speaking of balancing the hemispheres of the brain, and bringing them into alignment. That's what it speaks about. So in itself, that's challenging a perception, isn't it? Of what's dark, what's light. That's just a practice. So we have defeat, Seven of Swords, futility, then change, coming in with that balancing of masculine and feminine energies, the Ouroboros, the refining, the running interference, deliberately running interference as to maybe what stops us from meeting our own emotional needs or meeting our body's needs. Running interference by turning in a different, you only have to turn the mind 1 degree and act and behave in that to feel the change that goes on inside, and then to be with that change and acknowledge that change. This is the emotion. It's like the emotional needs of the soma. Okay. I can't. Cage doors open. Okay. Devil is coming in to give you a choice. Eight of Coins speaks to, well, it's discs in this deck. Eight of Coins speaks to tenacity and commitment and steady perseverance. Okay. To get to virtuosity, virtue. 3, your blueprint coming into alignment with who you are and who you want to be. Want, volition, want. Okay, so there's a difference between ancestral programming and choice. All of that to get to the Prince of Cups, to balance the Princess of Cups. So the masculine within is going to have some work to do to get into alignment with getting our emotional needs met. After the Prince of Cups comes the Star, the purification. The sun, the second sun in this reading. Luxury. And forgive me, I've forgotten the name of this symbol, but it's a symbol of expansion. I don't know what I'm going to call. Oh, that's what I'm going to call it. Is that what I'm going to call it? Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it's lovely. There are repeating stories about perseverance and building for the long haul. Yeah. So we have legacy of light. The alignment of the cells, free from judgment, free to love. Oh, lovely. I just heard the words, I'll love in my own way. Thank you. That's beautiful. Going beyond normal. There's Eris, way beyond. Yeah, beautiful. Normal. Part of the normal narcissistic programming is to be self-effacing. It's like a fake humility. So I guess big questions about being seen in the world. How do you allow the extraordinary part of you to be seen and celebrated in the world? Or do you hide it for fear of judgment? Baby steps. Baby steps. Endings, beginnings, hold the vision. Release the dark wound and let love live. And that is it. This was blooming lovely. I enjoyed every mouthful. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. Wow. I just picked up 1.5 decks of cards. There cannot be an ascension without a leaving behind of something. We can't take it with you. We can't take old behaviors, old treasures with us. Evolving insight. Beautiful. So drop me a comment, drop me lots of comments. I love the conversations that happen. Thank you for being here. Welcome new subscribers. It is wonderful to have you here. I get so much pleasure from doing these, and I hope you take away something useful. So I'm going to leave you with my love, and I will see you when I do. Take great care.